Okay, I was said let's jump into another game. But then when I was looking at the games that I already have installed, I forgot I still have Thugpro installed. I don't play a whole lot, but this is another game um that I played. It's called Thugpro. So we're gonna watch this. This was uploaded almost last year. I tried to find a relatively newer one or a trailer, but I couldn't really find one. So I'm pretty sure he's gonna explain his thoughts. So we're gonna get into it. I'm gonna make sure to dim the audio down just a tad. Honestly, just a tad. And we're gonna start going with this. Super Swim Team 7.
I really appreciate the way that fan communities can breathe new life into franchises that sometimes haven't had a release in years. And one of the best examples of that is Thugpro. Thugpro is a fan mod for the PC edition of Tony Hawk's Underground 2 that combines levels and characters from all across the Tony Hawk franchise, making them all playable in one game for the first time ever. The mod fixes the game's resolution to match modern screens, and it even offers controller support, mod support, and even online gameplay. And surprisingly enough, this game has a pretty active community of players, modders, and a ton of content to boot. I think this is one of the most extensive mods I've ever come across. And that's why it's one of my favorites, and also one of the ones I play the most often. The lengths these guys have gone to modernize a game from almost 2 decades ago is astounding. But in order to truly appreciate the way that fans have given the series new life, we need to look back on how the series previously ended, and reflect on the state of the Tony Hawk franchise prior to the release of Thug Pro.
But there's Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 out now.
The Tony Hawk series started in the late 90s, when Activision approached the developers at Neversoft to develop a skating game. Skateboarding was more popular than ever at the time, and Activision was eager to cash in on the new trend. Where have I heard that before?
Where did I hear
Before
that
Tony Hawk
before?
Pro Skater, all skateboarding games had just been racing games with a skateboarding skin on top. But Neversoft wanted to make something different, and decided that the game would focus on getting a high score in combos rather than coming in first place. Soon after development had started, Neversoft and Activision were able to talk Tony Hawk into joining the project. And after Tony joined the project, everything changed. Every few weeks, the team would finish a new beta build of the game and send it to Tony. He would play it, and he would make notes for the team on what did and didn't reflect skateboarding culture, as well as what they could do to make the game more akin to real-life skateboarding. This ended up resulting in the perfect blend of arcadey, high-score-centric gameplay with a real-world skate culture aesthetic, accompanied by death-defying acrobatic tricks and high-speed traversal. The Tony Hawk series actually ended up being one of the most popular and successful franchises of the 5th and 6th console generations. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 actually still has the second highest Metacritic score of all time. But unfortunately, the Tony Hawk series forays into the world of next-gen gaming wouldn't do so well, as critics often describe these games as feeling buggy, unfinished, or even lacking ambition altogether. Neversoft stepped away from the series altogether to work on the Guitar Hero franchise instead. And after that, they handed the reins to Robomoto, who had the bright idea of introducing a broken piece of plastic into the equation, making the games even more expensive, even less appealing, and less functional than ever before,
True.
ultimately kind of killing the momentum of the franchise altogether. Then in 2015, Activision put the final nail in the coffin of the Tony Hawk Pro Skater franchise once and for all, with the release of Robomoto's Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5. And on launch day, the game had a 7GB patch, with people finding out later that this 7GB patch was pretty much the entire game, and the game had basically shipped
Dang.
out with a completely blank disc. And despite the massive patch, the game was still ridden with issues, ranging from minor graphical glitches to game-breaking bugs. Even 4 years later, the game is still completely broken, and it's all because Activision lost the license to the series after developing it. and as such, they weren't allowed to continue development with the game post-release. So as a result, Activision released an unfinished, broken game in order to capitalize on a dead franchise one last time before they lost the license. The release of Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5 was one of the worst cash grabs of the PlayStation 4 generation. It's so sad to see such a great series die this way. And I mean,
What's
after
that in the
all, I'm sure you're
background?
all aware of how awful Activision is nowadays, but they've been doing this for so long, even as far back as the Tony Hawk series. I'd even argue that Tony Hawk may have been the first in their trend of yearly release zombie franchises. But it certainly didn't end with him, and their business practices still continue to this day. They
Yep,
milk and
sadly.
breed these franchises until there's nothing left. It started with Tony, and now we've seen the same things happen to Guitar Hero, Skylanders, and even Call of Duty. But while
Yep.
Activision had been hard at work beating a dead horse into a second cruel and untimely death, fans had been hard at work combining the best of 7 years of Tony Hawk video games into something completely unique and unheard of. 2 years before Activision's failed farewell to the franchise, fans had already been hard at work on a mod for Tony Hawk Underground 2 that introduced levels from Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3, Pro Skater 4, Underground, and American Wasteland into Underground 2, as well as enabling online multiplayer and mod support for custom skins and custom levels. The mod quickly became known as Thugpro and would soon take on a life completely of its own, quickly becoming known around the community as the definitive way to play Tony Hawk games. The mod even allows you to mod in additional levels from other skating games like Disney's Extreme Skate Adventure, Sonic Adventure 2, and even Spyro the Dragon, as well as completely new fan-created levels. And it even lets you add fan-created skaters as well, which is really only scratching the surface of what makes this mod so great. In a fun little twist of irony, when Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5 came out, a lot of reviewers actually pointed to Thugpro as an example of what the devs should have been aiming for with their official release. And on August 4th, 2017, roughly 2 years after the release of Pro Skater 5, the devs over at Robomodded tweeted this in response to a fan.
Hey, you know there's that Thugpro thing out there.
Even the devs of the latest release in the franchise knew that the fans had created an ultimately superior product of their own. And I think the best way to really let this game shine is just to talk about the features that I like the best and some of my favorite levels in the game and some of my favorite fan creations for the game as well. I'm going to try to avoid using too many on-screen graphics and try my best to just let the gameplay speak for itself, because playing this game is such a phenomenal experience, and I recommend it to anyone who grew up playing Tony Hawk. It just blows my mind that every level from the entire series is here. Out of all the games, from Tony Hawk 1 leading up to American Wasteland, there's only a few missing levels from the first 2 games and the very last games in the series. Most of the levels from Tony Hawk 1 and 2 are taken from their reappearances in later games as unlockables, which means that some of the levels that never reappeared later are still missing, including some of my favorites like Maul from Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1. But lucky for us, if you go on thpsx.com, you can actually find most of the levels from the PlayStation 1 Tony Hawk games in their entirety, including Tony Hawk 3 and 4, making one of my favorite levels, the Maul, playable once again. So just by modding the game a little bit, I get access to one of my favorite levels that I wouldn't have been able to before, which is really just scratching the surface of what makes this game and its community so great. There are so many levels on here. I'm just going to name off some of the more interesting ones. There's Black Belly Skate Park from the first Splatoon game. It's got the freaking Vatican. You can play in the ever iconic GM Big City from Gmod. We got both of the skating levels from Spyro 3 Year of the Dragon, Slappy Skate Park from Skate 2,
Oh
the
my
Bike
gosh.
Factory from Matt Hoffman's Pro BMX, Luigi's Mansion,
What?
City Escape from Sonic Adventure 2, and like I said before, the PlayStation
How could
1
you
levels
skate
of
in
the first
Luigi's
4 Tony
Mansion?
Hawk games.
I don't remember.
These are
I
just
might
a
have
few
to
of the more
download that.
notable levels that I found on the THPSX website, but there are so many more. There are actually over 200 unique levels that have been created or ported by fans, and by the time you watch this video, there may be even more. But for all the levels that have been ported to Thugpro, there have been even more skaters ported to the game. Without even modding it, the game offers you access to the secret skaters from Tony Hawk 3 to Thug 2, including Marvel characters like Wolverine and Iron Man, Star Wars characters like Darth Maul and Jango Fett, and some other great secret characters like the Doom Guy, Eddie, and Thud. But like I said before, in addition to what Thugpro already offers, on thpsx.com, you can find even more characters to play through the game as. Some of my favorites are all the different variations of Spider-Man from Neversoft's Spider-Man 2000, as well as some of the characters from the Silent Hill games, Sonic the Kickflippin' Hedgehog,
Sonic the
Rayman Dude,
Sonic the
Samus Aran,
kick-flipping hedgehog.
Yugi, a Gonk droid from Star Wars, and so many more. The game is like Gmod for skateboarding. If you can imagine a popular character or level, someone is probably working on porting them into the game if they aren't already available. And the community surrounding this game
Oh,
is
it's
surprisingly
Crash.
huge. On top of all the content creators that are making new skins and levels for the game, there's also an active online player base, and an active community of users regularly uploading content from the game onto YouTube as well. In all my time playing Thugpro, I've never had a problem finding people to play with. At any given time, there's likely to be someone playing Trick Attack, Graffiti, or King of the Hill. Though I've gotta say, most of the people playing this game are way better than I could ever hope to be. Probably because most of these people haven't stopped playing the game since they came out. A lot of them
Dang.
still post compilation videos of high scores and long combos, particularly on these channels. I'm really just glad that this game's significance hasn't been lost to time, and that its impact can still be felt online, even if the game hasn't had an official release in half a decade now, and it hasn't been relevant in over a decade now. The way Activision killed the Tony Hawk series was tragic, but the way fans have rallied together to forge a new future for the game is a testament to the impact that fans can have on game preservation. I'm really thankful Thugpro exists. So if any devs or modders from Thugpro or even Neversoft are out there watching, I really appreciate it. If you want to install Thugpro, I suggest you watch this video by Flippy. I'll include it at the end and in the description down below. He'll help you set up the game and show you what you need to do in order to get it running. It's easy, it's free, and anyone can do it, so if you have a PC that can run a game from 2005 or older, I highly recommend checking out Thugpro. And before I close out the video, I'd like to thank the modders who helped create this game one more time. Most notably, Morton, Quaz, Chase, and Percent Gone. Thanks for
I
keeping
don't know
the
these
magic
people.
alive. If you're interested in more mods for other Neversoft games, then you can check out my video on fan mods for Neversoft Spider-Man 2000 in the description down below. And before I go, I'd also like to thank my supporters on Patreon and Ko-fi. If you enjoyed the video and you want to support the channel, don't forget to leave a like and let me know what you thought in the comments down below. I know that the Tony Hawk
I'm
series meant a
subscribing.
lot to a lot of people, so I'm curious about what it meant to you and what your experience with the series was like. And finally, if you want to see more Super Swim Team 7, don't forget to subscribe and maybe follow me on Twitter and turn those notification bells on. With all that being said, this has been Super Swim Team 7, signing off.
He disappeared in his chair. What do I have to say about this? I have actually played this. So I'm not dead to this. I'm not sitting here going, "Oh, I'm new to this." This has been a while. I just haven't played a lot of it, so I haven't really spent my time. And I don't think I downloaded mods for it. I don't remember. I'm curious about Luigi's Mansion. Like, how can you skate in Luigi's Mansion? I'm just curious. Like to me, I'm just curious about it. That's number one. I'm curious about it. But yeah, I recommend this to fans. Even though there's Pro Skater 1 and 2 out, amazing, looks amazing, heard positive things about it. But if you don't have a good laptop or a good computer to actually run that game, you can definitely play this. A lot of old computers can run this game. You know, it was made back in like what, 2005 or something. So, if y'all want to play this game, please let me know. This was a really fun game, and it was fun to actually watch this. Let me know in your comments below, and I will see you guys and girls next time.